of my shoes right here. Some of the shoes that I buy for the kids. Like I buy them all year, right? So I'll store them in here.
Stock them up.
Some Jordans, some Adidas. I got some at home.
Beautiful.
All these equipment, basketballs, footballs, things like that.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome they let you use this too.
Yeah, they're cool with it, man. I've been here for a while. I don't know why I'm not running this place yet. That's the crazy
thing. Enough, man. That's the other thing I didn't realize. Like the Kicks for Kids was you, really.
That's
like,
me, yeah.
But like I told my brother, I was like, when I showed up there, I seen him. I'm like, I know this guy from somewhere.
Yeah.
I think it's just from around, probably Kicks for Kids and stuff like that. I'd see it on the news and stuff. So, and then on Saturdays with Cedric at the fights, and he was telling me, like we were talking about the interviews I did with the kids.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, Mitch will be good. And he's like really behind that Kicks for Kids things. And
kind
of like, hit me at once, and I was like, oh, that's it. Oh,
yeah, that's
so I'm familiar with that. That's been going on for years.
Since 2009 was my first ever.
Oh yeah.
Kicks for Kids, like Christmas edition, where I bought shoes for the kids.
So you're on 8 years now.
Yeah, I'm on 8 years right now, man.
That's awesome, dude.
I know. There's like tons of pictures. I'll show you actually some pictures that we got when we first started it.
Do you have the med ball with you too, or no?
It's in my truck. I can grab it.
Yeah, if you want to grab that, actually. So I seen this one today. Yeah, I seen this today.
On my IG,
2009,
right?
I think so, or something.
Yeah, on my IG.
Because I was trying to figure out. So
that's the same gym, bro. This 2009. Yep. So these kids now are in high school. Some of them are working for the program. So like most of these kids are in high school. When I first started it, a couple of them got full ride scholarships, basketball.
Oh my God, that's unbelievable.
Got a $200,000 TD academic scholarship, all from this neighborhood. You're not even supposed to be going to university or college coming from this neighborhood, right? So they gotten like full ride scholarships. They're all like top right now. When you walk in the gym, all the boys are making 200 shots. So every day they got to make 200 shots to get the shoes for Christmas.
Oh, really? That's how it works? Okay, that's wicked.
So like the younger ones, I'll have them do different things. You know what I mean? Like
a little more realistic, I guess.
And then here, where I do like the teenage boys and girls, where I bring people that got like full ride scholarships to come and talk to them about scholarships, about what do you call that, like SATs and what they went through and how it is to play in D1 sports and things,
That's wicked.
And then there's like a younger crew, bro, like 5, as young as 5, just putting in work.
That's great.
You know what I mean?
Alright, shoot the jumper now.
I literally have the best job in the world, bro. And then like for like actually seeing it now, like 8 years later, to the boys that were like 13, being 21 right now, killing it. Like my boy Munis Tutu gotten a D1 scholarship to LMU, and then he went back. He's at Carleton right now, right? And so I have him do like boxes,
Yeah.
Like I got stuff upstairs for him. Like I started him young, bro.
For real.
Keep going.
He was a little kid,
That's
bro.
Great.
So
That's awesome.
And then this is the end result. Like he just got Player of the Week at Carleton. Led his team to I
gotta look him up.
Munis Tutu. He's from Windsor. Played prep school. They won national championship at La Lumiere, and then went to full ride LMU in California. And now he's back at Carleton. Right? Didn't like it out there. He came back still at Carleton, and like they flew him out there. Like he's doing big things, and like
people don't realize how big like college basketball is.
Yeah,
and like how like
and my thing is like
that they have like flying back.
Like stuff, the thing is with me is he's playing college basketball and he's doing it so big. Like he's like basically like the poster child, because he took what we were saying until he just All I was trying to do was like preach to these kids to be like, hey man, don't sell crack cocaine. Don't do crack cocaine. Don't go to jail. Don't be like what everybody expects us to be from this neighborhood. You know what I mean? Like your neighbors are crackheads. Now it's like meth heads and fentanyl addicts. Like somebody overdosed on fentanyl in the parking lot. It was in the newspaper. Mm-hmm. A couple kids that didn't come to this program ended up like getting shot in the arm. Like 18, 19-year-olds. One of them that shot the kid in the East End is from this neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
Grew up right here, bro. And like that was a result of like, because a few years I had to leave for my medicine ball. So the program, when I left, the kids weren't coming, right? The older kids, they have nothing in common with them.
Right? They connect with you, right?
Yeah. So what happened then was some of the kids that didn't come, that didn't have father figures, things like that, end up getting in trouble. And when they get in trouble around here, it's like serious trouble, like shooting, stabbing, like selling drugs, like serious shit. You know what I mean? So like for me to like just have the program for them and come here and just just simple basketball. It's just basketball, right? But it's keeping them out from this, just the rough neighborhood that it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was like I said a couple weeks ago. I learned long time ago. Little things go a long way, and small things can make a big difference.
Yeah,
and that's just basketball can change someone's life, right?
Yeah, so I teach them all this fitness and all that, but like, you know, then when they start, like the girl Josephine in there, she was one of the girls from my program. Now she's doing the program, working here.
Oh, yeah,
working for the city.
Perfect.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just let her now. She can climb the ropes like everybody else is doing, right? She graduated college first in her family. Another girl graduated college first in her family. Driver's license first in her family. And then if they want, these job postings come up here too.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So if they want to climb the ropes and they want to do something else and they want to do that, they can. You know, so
it's not
giving them opportunity.
Yeah,
right?
It's not just about getting them out of the bad neighborhood or whatever. It's opportunity for work, and for school, and for
life.
Life. Yeah.
So.
All right, man. That's great. Let's do this, dude. Like,
all right.
So I always do like a big background. I know we were looking at the questions here.
Yep.
This is probably the most broad way I've ever put it. Like I said, I always want to get a little background on everyone. Just tell me your story.
All right.
That's it. You know, where are you from? Why you do what you do?
I was born in Eritrea.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. It's northern Ethiopia. They had a war, and it's like in the 90s, 93, 94. My family was like war torn. I remember like my first memories was going to grade school, like junior kindergarten, and my older brother coming to pick us up because we had to we running away from school because they're blowing up schools and hospitals. So as we're running home, I just remember little things like my first memories were war. You know what I mean? As we're running home, you can see missiles, you can see people getting shot, you see like the Ethiopian soldiers were coming invading where I was from, right? So then in 1993, we moved from Eritrea to Ethiopia, right? Because we were we have brothers and sisters in Windsor, and I had another brother in LA. So they were trying to get our family to come here, you know, away from the war, like every other refugees and things like that. So we moved to Ethiopia, lived in the slums out there for 2 years, and then our papers got passed, and we were able to come, and we moved to. They brought 7 of me, my brothers, and my sisters, and my mom. My dad was already here also. They brought us here, and then in 1994 April, we landed in Toronto. Stayed there for a month, and it was my older brother's idea. He didn't want us growing up in Toronto for some reason. My sister was living in the hood out there, and was like, "Hey man, I live in Windsor, small town. Drive him down here." So came to Windsor, and then life started happening in 1994 April. So came to Windsor. I was going to grade 4 in Gordon McGregor, right?
Oh yeah, okay.
So I told my mom, I said, "Man, I need new shoes. You know, I was slipping all over. I needed back to school shoes, right?" This is why MH Kicks for Kids started.
Right.
So I tell my mom, and she tells my brother, "He needs new shoes. He's slipping, right?" So there's a bunch of us. You know, I'm the youngest of 9, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So my oldest brother says, "All right, cool. We'll get him some new shoes." So they go over to Detroit, and they give me these shoes. And I'm grass. I'm cutting. I'm killing people. Like I'm so fast on grass, right? And I'm in grade 4. So I walk in the hallways of Gordon McGregor, and one of the kids goes, "Hey, Mehari, man, why are you wearing baseball cleats?" So they bought me baseball cleats for back to school shoes, dude. So years later, when I was working at Waterworld, I seen a little Arabic girl wearing soccer cleats as shoes, like in the gym. She's running around in soccer cleats, and it triggered in my mind. I'm like, wow, like they all go through this, right? Yeah. We all go through this. So then I started the Kicks for Kids Foundation, where I buy all the kids. You know, I just reward them, right, when they come and work out hard. You know, I just want to give them something for Christmas, because number 1, I know they need shoes, and number 2, I was right there with them where Christmas always missed us.
You seen, that was me. Like, you know what I mean? You looked at that girl and said, that was me when I was 9 years old at Gordon McGregor, right? And that's when it was like, this is what I got to do? Is that what happened? Or?
Yeah, like, I realized, like, you know what? It just brought back memories. I'm like, wow, like, you know, I wonder how much these kids are getting teased at school, you know, for having shoes like this. And, you know, their parents can't understand, right? So, like, I realized, I'm like, wow, man, let me do something about this. Because I knew I relate to them big time. And that's big reason why I work here. From Gordon McGregor, we moved downtown in 1997. Right here, 398 Wyandotte Street, right next door to Waterworld. At the time, Waterworld wasn't built. And I was going to Bagley. I'm at Bagley, and this is way different than Gordon McGregor. I went from a school where it's all these white kids, and they had lunches, and if you didn't have lunch, you know, everything was good, and they had their own. I go to Gordon McGregor, and we have breakfast clubs and lunch clubs because kids didn't have lunch, right? So I'm like, oh, man. I'm at Begley, and I'm just realizing how rough it is, right? On the walk home and on the walk, I see drug addicts, I see drug dealers, right? That's what we thought was cool. So I have my best friend Daryl Townsend, who plays in the CFL. Yep. We lived here and we played ball in the gym right here every day, and we seen all these people we looked up to, right? And they're all, nothing against them, and it wasn't their fault because that's probably all they knew because of their parents. Probably that's all they knew.
Yep.
They were telling us, hey man, go sell crack if you want to make money. Like in rap music, what you hear, do this, do that, yeah. And it was right in our neighborhood, right? So luckily we were good in sports, so we played Core City basketball. So every weekend, instead of being in the neighborhood, we'd be gone away for tournaments, right? So the tournaments kept us away. So I know how important sports are, right? Because practice and tournaments, the more you're at the gym, the more you're in the gym, the more you're at practice or going to tournaments or playing games, the less you're in the neighborhood. Yeah. You know what I mean? The less you're about to. If you ain't doing nothing and you're just sitting there, and it's easy to get into the game, right? So
that's a good point, because people always say sports gets you out, but I think of it in the sense of coaching and connecting with people. Not necessarily what you're saying, but that's a real eye opener. It's very true, because you're literally getting those kids away from it. You know what I mean?
If you can take them away for a few hours and they get to meet somebody, a coach, another player, somebody different, because all they know in the neighborhood they grow up in is that, I have to sell drugs or I have to do drugs, because that's all they see. Yeah. That's all they see in the neighborhood, right? That, yeah. So then I got the job at Windsor Waterworld as a gym supervisor. So I was upstairs. The gym used to be upstairs, and I used to just supervise, and I was helping some of the lifeguards. I was training the lifeguards. So one of these girls I was training, she started losing a bunch of weight, and the lifeguard supervisor named Bonnie Bailey seen that and said, "How are you losing all this weight? Why are you looking so good?" She said, "Oh, Mehari upstairs." So she met with me and said, "Hey man, she started training me. It's like, hey, you need to start teaching classes." Started doing my boot camp classes, and that's how the MH100 med ball came across. All right. So all the workers from 350 and 400, they come for crunch to lunch.
Yep.
They walk over here and do their half-hour class. Yep. Classes were booming, right? They hear about this kid at Waterworld. And I noticed, I'm like, man, they're coming here. They have a half hour to work out. Took them 5 minutes to take out all these equipment. Took them another 5 minutes to put the equipment back. With breaks and everything, I realized their workouts weren't, they're having fun, but they weren't efficient, right? So I came up with a one-tool MH100 medicine ball, where it's a kettlebell, medicine ball, ab wheel, all in one, where they come in there, grab that one tool, and start training, right? So that's how I came up with that. Years after I was doing the class, I was just trying to be innovative, looking, thinking, and then I said, hey, you know what? If they come, they can grab this med ball. They can do abs with it, legs, cardio, core, all of that, right?
It's more of an efficient way to get a better workout in a shorter time.
Shorter time. Yeah. So it takes them literally 10 seconds to grab it, less breaks, so the ball's always in your hands, right? So that way they're burning more calories, right? So classes were booming. Then Bonnie Bailey says to me in 2008, she said, hey man, I got a flyer for you. So she got this flyer. I still have it. It says Training with Mehari. And it's for kids from 14 to 16-year-olds. She said, go around the neighborhood and get the kids. Let's start training these kids in the gym after school from 4 to 6. I said, all right. These kids happen to be my nieces and nephew, my neighbors, my friends, neighborhood kids. Like, they're all my people, right? Oh, yeah. So they come in and they start working out, and that's when Munis Tutu is one of those kids. Okay. Devontae, Pierce, all these kids, Rebecca, Hagos, Robel, they all were coming here working out, and it was just working out. I was helping them jump higher, right? So the next, after one summer, they all start dunking it. Oh, there's this guy named Mehari. We're doing an MH100. We're jumping out through the roof, right? So at the end of the program, I would motivate them. And during the workouts, it wasn't just a workout. I would motivate them to become better at school, to become better athletes, to become greater than just a kid from the neighborhood, to have bigger dreams and not just think that, hey, you know what, I'm gonna end up like my mom who's a crackhead, or I'm gonna end up like my older brother who's a crack dealer. You know what I mean? So I said, you know what, I'm gonna change that stigma, right? So during that process, while I was training these kids, I started rewarding them, buying them shoes also at the end of the program, and they started doing so good in school and so good in sports. And at the same time, my friend Tyrone was doing his thing at Boise State. right? He gets drafted to the NFL, and I was helping him with fitness a little bit, right? I was training him a bit. So now it's like, oh man, Tyrone was a big part of it. He said, hey man, I love what we're doing down here. And every time he comes down to Windsor, we get together and we train the kids right here.
Yeah. That's so cool.
You know what I mean?
Right here in the same neighborhood that he and you grew up in. That's so cool.
And now there's an NFL superstar coming to hang out with
that's big time, especially for a neighborhood like this. You know what I mean? That's incredible.
So me and him became, and he loves it. He's a big supporter, and we do backpack giveaways in August for when they go back to school. Give them new clothes, brand name stuff, just to make them feel cool and just to probably not get teased at school, and to give them more confidence, right? And to let them know, hey, you know what, man, just it's okay. This is gonna happen, but just keep going, right? So
everyone knows what that's like, and like I said, you guys,
especially us, we had obstacles, and we both have different obstacles, but we both overcame them, and at the same time, we're just trying to show these kids, like, hey, you know what, you can make it, right? So started helping the kids, and the program grew, and we started saying, hey, you know what? Let's do the program from kids from 5 years old all the way up to 18-year-olds. So we started getting grants. Got an after-school grant where these kids come and they get free snacks. And when the grant's done, when school's done, I rent the gym with Tyrone, and we help these kids with training. We also take him to Malden Park, and he comes to Malden Park, and like Instagram photos, everything with him training at Malden Park with them. You know what I mean?
I've seen it.
You know what I mean? So it's like, can you imagine like that? In my day, like an NFL player, let alone a Dallas Cowboys captain of the team, coming to train with you to show you, like, this is how a pro trains, right? So my biggest thing is all training and fitness, and I'm helping them get fit, and which is great, obviously, with childhood obesity at an alarming rate right now. I'm helping them, have bigger dreams, but at the end of the day, we're teaching them work ethic.
Yeah, that's one thing I want to say. I like how you're having them put in the work, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they get the reward.
Yeah.
Don't expect anything to be handed to you, right? Because like I said, it's going to help you in sport and in school.
Yep.
They're going to do the work to get the achievement, right?
Yes, sir.
That's what it's all about.
And after that, the program just been growing ever since, and I've been so blessed when my business is growing. I had to leave for a little bit, and I noticed when I left, some of the kids that weren't able to come into the program, how effective they were. Like, we're building on stats right now to the kids that were in the program, found, like I said earlier to you, full ride academic scholarships to a TD $200,000 scholarship. She, you know what I mean? Where she works every summer with TD and got to go to York University, any university of her choice, right? To Munis Tutu going from Windsor, from the West Side Projects to, all the way down to Los Angeles to LMU. And now we got kids that playing prep high school basketball. And even here in Windsor, the kids that are from the program, when it comes track season, they're number one. They're all involved in sports, right? Which, if they know that if they work hard, they're going to be rewarded, right? So
exactly, we were talking, right?
Yeah.
And it's good. It's crazy to see it come right here in Windsor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we're saying, like, get alone in a neighborhood like this, Windsor alone, to have that much success. I love seeing it, and it's just that's why we do what we do is WinCity Sports. Is to promote everything in Windsor around sports and recreation, and to see those people succeed that's what it's all about.
Yeah, man.
I love it. So I talked a little bit about like your business expanding and stuff. You're involved in a lot of different like organizations. Like obviously you're here with the city. You have MH100 Fitness. Just kind of generally tell me about all the stuff that you're kind of involved in right now, and the starts here, like the programs and stuff.
Yeah. It's all under one umbrella, obviously fitness and motivation. But I've been working for the city of Windsor since 2008, right? Remember I told you. Yep. So I'm involved with so much different things. I started working with Cedric. He was my trainer originally. I love personal training and I love fitness. I needed, take it to the next level. So I started doing pads with Cedric, right? And doing boxing with Cedric. And Cedric asked me, and shows how humble he is, to say, instead of, so a lot of trainers think they know it all, right? And like with me, I feel like if I don't know something, I'm going to go learn, right? So he says to me, hey man, I'll love it if you can help our boxers with strength and conditioning, with stretching and things like that, and motivate them, right? So I'm like, no problem. It's right up in my alley, right? So we're both doing the exact same thing, where he's helping the boxers and I was helping the kids in the neighborhoods at risk youth, right? So I said, no problem. I went in there, started working with Windsor Amateur Boxing Club and helping the kids with fitness. But now I had a fundraiser last Friday, right? Now I got them for provincials tomorrow. I'm giving them all brand new shoes, brand new head to toe, like Windsor Amateur Boxing Club outfits, socks. Just making them, rewarding them, letting them know, hey, man, all that hard work. My biggest saying is if you don't grind, you don't shine, right? So, like, you guys been grinding, and now here you can be shining as a team, right? And I noticed they didn't even have team uniforms.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And then I noticed their shoes weren't up to date, and their equipment wasn't up to date. So I said, hey, man, let me take over on that part, right? So came in with the Windsor Amateur Boxing Club and been helping the boxers. Also, I do a women's boot camp that I run, similar to the Crunch to Lunch, but this one's boxing/boot camp. So they do boot camp workout at the beginning, core, legs, bands, and then they do a boxing workout for the last half hour of the class.
Okay, man.
Yeah.
So I do want to talk a little bit about boxing, but just one thing that it popped in my mind a little bit as we were talking here. Have you ever heard of the show called The Wire?
The Wire, yeah.
So
I used to watch that. That's one of my favorite shows.
It's kind of reminds me of this, and especially when we come to the boxing, that part, the whole show is kind of basically based on true stories in Baltimore. And the guy, Dennis Wise, he was a boxing coach.
Yeah.
He was a boxer. He went to jail and he came back, and the same thing. The kids, they grow up in that neighborhood, and that's what the whole show is about. It's about Baltimore and them getting drawn into that lifestyle. And Dennis Wise, true story, that's what he did. He started his boxing club to pull the kids off the street.
Yeah.
And to basically do what you're doing. It's just funny how you see the connection there. I was like, this sounds familiar.
Yeah.
But that's just a funny connection. But let's talk about boxing a little bit. Like I said, I was doing some research on you, looking at your Instagram. I see you training with Cedric.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like something that you enjoy and probably believe is very beneficial for fitness, right? Just kind of touch upon that, how the love kind of came to be. Did you got connected with Cedric just to start working with him, right? But then you started boxing with him as well? Or?
Yeah. As soon as I did the workouts, I've noticed it was a lot different than any other workout that I've ever done. Mm-hmm. I've ran hills. I've done, weights, track workouts. I played football, AKO for years. I played basketball, everything. But when I did boxing, I noticed how different it was. And I realized how, I fell in love with it right away because it was every time I couldn't not perfect it, but I couldn't, I don't know how to say the word,
perfect and progress at the same time.
It was weird. Every time I thought I was in shape, I wasn't in shape.
Yeah, it's one of those things that kind of kicks your butt, and it's maybe I'm not.
Maybe I'm not this tough, right? Yeah. And I noticed how hard it was, and then when I did more research, and I've been all around the world with obviously my medicine ball and with personal training, I noticed every athlete was doing boxing. Russell Wilson was doing boxing. Mm-hmm. NBA players are doing boxing. The hand-eye coordination that you get from boxing helps in every sport. Whether you play soccer, you play volleyball, any sport that you play, I've noticed, especially now with social media, Instagram and Snapchat, we're right in with the NFL players or NBA players. NBA has a Snapchat. NFL has, you know what I mean? So I follow Antonio Brown, and they all box. Every athlete in every sport. I just did some research. Michael Phelps, that was one of his biggest training sessions, was boxing.
Oh, I would have never imagined that.
Exactly,
put that
right?
Together.
So I've noticed that, and then I just fell in love with it. And then me and Cedric, we became great friends. And, every time there's a big match, a boxing match happening, we'd watch it together. And he'd critique things, and I would see it from a coach's point of view.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really cool. I love that, yeah.
And I was like, wow, man, I fell in love with the sport, and now I'm helping the young fighters from Windsor, and I want them to be great. Why not people from Windsor?
Exactly, yeah.
I've been around it. When I go to Dallas to stay with Tyrone for a few weeks, I'm around DeMarcus Lawrence, who's the best defensive end in the NFL, but he's nothing different than we are.
Not yet. That's one thing I realize a lot with this is that everyone's just people.
Yeah, we're just people, man. Yeah. We're just human, and they look at us like we're the great ones. I play basketball with these guys, and they're like, man, you're so good. And I'm thinking man, DeMarcus Lawrence thinks I'm one of the best basketball players he's ever played with. I'm playing ball with him and
cool.
Anthony Hitchens and all these guys at the YMCA, And Tyrone tells them, yo, my boy MH, he's gonna get y'all. He's gonna get y'all. And I go out there and I'm playing with these pro ballers, and I'm like, wow, they're just people.
Yeah.
When you don't see them. And when you're a kid, you put them such on a pedestal, and you're thinking they're like they're gods or something, right? So my thing is in Windsor, we have those people. We have great athletes. And why not help them? If a pair of shoes is going to help them get to the next level, or, a pat on the back, or something to say, hey, you know what, man, you're doing great. Here. Why not? The little video I just showed you about the 5-year-old shooting baskets. I told him, I said, hey, he wants new Jordans, right? I said, don't worry, man. Here, make 100 jump shots a day. I'll get you new Jordans for Christmas. He runs to the gym. He runs back, and he's like, MH. I'm saying, what's up? He's like, I can't count to 100. So I'm like, are you? So he couldn't really get up to 100 because he would get to 30, he'd forget, right? He don't know where he at. So I had to make him a chart that every 10 he makes, he has to check and then go back and check, right? So all I'm saying is, in 10 years, he's only going to be 15 years old. If every day he's in here putting up shots like that. If every day we're here motivating him to do work. You see him doing box jumps. He's doing box jumps at a 5-year-old.
Oh, I didn't even know what that was at 5 years old.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So, we're just shaping them up and getting them ready and just showing them, they work hard, they get rewarded. And at most, though, I'm not going to lie to you, it's more, I feel like I'm getting the best reward. The smile that it puts on my face when I see these guys balling or when I see them, I'm like, I just told you earlier, I have the greatest job in the world, man.
Exactly.
I have the greatest job.
That's why I wanted to touch upon everything that you do. Is this it? This is your life.
This is my life. MH100 is my life, and
that's great. You live it, man.
I live it.
Rep it.
Yeah,
that's
everything, man.
Awesome.
Everything.
And just the little story you just told there about the kids and that kind of brings it all together. Like you said, it's learning. For sport, for life, for whatever, you know what I mean? And just the two worlds colliding, that's a perfect example there.
Yeah.
That's great, man. And, we kind of touched upon everything that you're doing, but is there anything that you're looking to expand into, or maybe are you looking to just steady do what you're doing, or maybe even expand that? What are you have any goals in the future?
I have a bunch of goals. My main goal being, which is already happening, like I told you, we're doing stats right now, is the kids work or go to school and not end up like what society wants us to become, right? So my work is already being done. So that goal is there. But I have another goal, which is I want to have a better facility for these kids, right? So the guys that I have at prep school right now in high school that I train every summer, next summer when they come, I want them to have, these things called hyper boots things where they put all the NBA players have them, all these big D1 schools have them. Ice bucket for them to take an ice bath after a training session. A classroom for them to learn SATs. So right now, also what I do is, I forgot to touch upon it, is I have a friend named Hassan Sabeti who's a manager at BMO, and we do financial literacy every few months where we get all the kids together and we teach them financial literacy, because all around here is Money Mart, Cash Money, advanced places. So now that they're getting jobs, they're cashing their checks there, right? So I've been helping them with financial literacy,
that's great.
Nutrition, and everything like that. So my main goal is to have this facility where they come and it's there. They want to be great, it's there. You worked out hard, okay, you need a massage therapist, we have that. You worked out hard, I have this kid named Maurice. He's 6'9" point guard at Oak Hill. Same school that Carmelo Anthony went to. This kid has a bright future.
Oh yeah.
Last year we're playing ball, we're working out. His knee was hurting. So I took him over to Radovich on I think it's on Howard there. Brought him there and then and got him treatment. But his mom can't afford treatment. You know what I mean? So I want to have a facility where, say we have volunteers, whatever it might be, where they get treatment while they're back here. So that way nothing is stopping them. I don't want nothing to get in their way. So whatever's in their way, I want to be the bulldozer to just knock it out. To be like, hey, you know what? What's in your way? New shoes? We have that. Therapy? No problem. Oh, you want to get a job? Here it is. You want to get a car? No problem. Here's a savings account. Save this much money a month, and you can have this car. You don't have to sell crack and go to jail and do all this stuff, right? So, it's a huge, my biggest and my major goal is to change their whole life where they don't have to grow up, their kids don't have to grow up in the projects no more. They don't have to be like their older cousins and older brothers and sisters selling drugs on the streets and going to jail. You know, that's another, like, you know,
yeah, man, that's
continuous goal that I have.
That's unbelievable. That's really inspiring, man. Thanks,
man.
Really cool. And I like the idea with like the performance center kind of thing that you want to do, like a facility, and the classroom thing is really like, that's again very inspiring. That's really wicked.
And when right now, like we just talked about, it was in the newspaper, somebody overdosing on fentanyl in the parking lot where I work at, and just to let them know that when I go to these community meetings and everybody wants to know the answer of how they can stop this epidemic, and I'm like, you have to start with the youth. If you're not letting them know what type of drugs are and what's going on and keeping it real with them, then for sure they're going to be selling it or doing it, right? So that's
they're going to fall into that.
Yeah, they don't know. So if we keep them and say, hey man, this is what a meth addict looks like. Do you want to look like this? Yes or no?
Yeah, it's a little tough love, but
love, but keeping it real.
Yeah,
you know, we're keeping it real, and we're showing them what it is because they see it every day, anyways. Especially the ones in the neighborhood, right?
All right. Before we wrap it up, I just remembered something because you talk about keeping it real. It's kind of like your motto. Where did the MH100 come from? Is that kind of like a keeping it 100?
Oh man, MH100. So
look at his chain.
Oh yeah, the chain, the MH100 chain. Awesome. Thank you, man. Thank you. I just got it done. Yeah. I got it done for my birthday. I got
that's wicked.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know where did the name come from.
So MH is muscle and health, and then the 100 is 100%. We do say like 100 sets or 100 reps.
Okay, so you said 100 jump shots.
Yeah, 100 jump shots.
Okay.
And most of all, just 100. You know, because you can't. There's no going 80 and then going 20 this way. You're going two ways. You got to go 100. If you want to play ball, you got 100%. You have to be in it. Mm-hmm. So you can't be in there playing 21 and stuff like that. You got to make your jump shots, work on your handles. Mm-hmm. If you want to do good in school, like how Rebecca got the $200,000 scholarship, you have to be 100% focused into your schoolwork. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I got it. Yeah, you gotta have that tunnel vision.
That tunnel vision.
You gotta go where you're going.
You gotta go 100, right? So that's the 100. That's where it came.
Cool, man. That's great. And that's those little things that all kind of make up the big thing. It's cool. So, and again, I want to touch upon just like the relationship with the kids. That's what we talked about a lot, like throughout this whole time here. But you can tell it really is truthful and really resonates. When I interviewed Hunter Lee and Tucker Myers there at Windsor Amateur Boxing Club, I was talking about like, what are you guys doing to train going into your fights? You know, not just boxing, but what else? And they just kept saying, MH got us doing this. I had to stop and be like, just so you know, MH, who's MH? You know, they're so invested in you that they don't even think to explain who MH is. They're just like, MH make me do this, and I do it because he told me to. And that's what makes a great coach, just like Cedric. That's another thing we talked about.
That's crazy because I just been working with these kids. Just recently. Just 6-7 months now. We started in the summertime.
We have a big impact on a younger.
And can you imagine all the other kids that we've been working 5-6 years with, right? So like, and what you said earlier, I care. I care about Hunter and I care about Tucker. I care about these kids. Like, I see what they're doing. They can be out here bullshitting. You know what I mean? They can be out here playing video games. We grew up, we didn't have none of that. Mm. Like, we had a couple PS2 or whatever it might have been at the time, but it wasn't like.
Well, that's probably outdated then too.
Yeah, and now like they got their phones. They're on their phone 24/7. They go home. They got Xbox 360. They got all these things keeping them away from being fit and being focused. Mm-hmm. But yet they come and they motivate me, bro. Let alone they saying MH. They motivate me. One time, about a week ago, I went out there and it was raining, freezing ice rain. And they were running to the river and back, sprinting to the river and back. What am I, like, you know what I mean? Like, I take that motivates me. I see these kids are,
it's one of those
they come from nothing. They're hungry. I'm hungry. It motivates me to come out here and to realize, hey, I gotta keep grinding. I gotta keep working hard. And I said her name one time, but this lady named Bonnie Bailey. If it wasn't for her, none of this would be happening. She was a huge believer in me. I didn't talk about this earlier, but there was rough times in my life when the city went on strike. Were you working for the city at the time?
No, that's before my time.
Okay, so I was working and I didn't know financial literacy, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I grew up in this neighborhood. My mom grew up in Africa. I had no idea about financial literacy, so I was blowing money fast, thinking it was coming every week, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know. I had a couple of thousand in my savings. I thought I was balling.
Yeah.
Still going doing my thing.
Run.
Yeah. Strike, we didn't go back. I remember how
I got it now, yeah.
I had nowhere to live, so I was sleeping in my car. Can you imagine, right? I was sleeping in my car.
Mm-hmm.
I had nothing to eat, and I had so much pride I didn't know what to do. Like, I'm like, man, and it was only for a couple weeks, but when we came back to work, it was Bonnie Bailey who was, going above and beyond, getting me so much hours. I know you work part-time here, and they're so big on only working 24 hours, right?
Yeah.
Bonnie would do things where I was working 50 hours a week. I was teaching classes, working front desk, working the weight room. She had me doing everything and still would go out of her way to motivate me and say, hey, man, keep going. You're doing great. And she had no idea I was homeless. She had no idea I was going through depression at the time, right? So, like, if this old Caucasian lady that had nothing to do, she never grew up in a neighborhood like this. She just worked in here.
Mm-hmm.
And she's the one that believed in me, and it took one person, when she showed me what it was. I always loved and I cared about people, but she was a huge inspiration, and the reason why what I do now is because of her. The reason why I teach boot camp classes was because of her, right? So I want to give a huge shout out to her, and I tell her all the time. She was at the fundraiser. I tell her kids who are like both fire chiefs at the downtown fire hall here. I call them and tell them, like, hey, man, your mom has sparked a change. With one person now, it just blew like wildfire. Kids downtown, kids in the West End projects, kids in the East End projects, young black kids, Arabic kids that grew up, low-income homes, and even now the boxers. She's, changed the whole path. Even like adult people that I train and that tell me, like, hey, man, I was going through this, and if it wasn't for you, like so much, which I haven't touched on or mentioned because I care about so much about the kids that, like, I've changed so much people's lives because of this one lady, believing in me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, huge shout out to Bonnie Bailey, man. She's inspiration to, like, she's just amazing woman.
She didn't realize what she was sparking, right? So that wasn't the intention. It was just, out of the good of her heart.
Yep.
And just give them a chance, not for any specific reason, just give them a chance and look what happens.
Look what happened,
That's
right?
Awesome.
MH100 happened. MH100 happened, and so mmany kids are becoming great now, and
that's the
that's the goal, right? And if they can keep going, now the younger kids, because what was happening was the older kids were going home, MH, same thing, MH, right? And then the younger kids, they'd come up to me and be like, hey, I want to go to Mehari's, not knowing I was Mehari, right? I'm like, what? They're like, where's Mehari's? I want to go. And I'm like, I'm Mehari. They're like, for real? I'm talking to you, right? And
right here.
The ladies from the 400 building, they'd wear MH100 shirts and walk through the neighborhood, right? The same walk you took?
Yeah, exactly.
They walk that, and they'd be like, and the kids be like, MH, right? So, like,
that's cool.
That connection, right? You go and talk to any of those ladies. Last time
that's the thing. Now I got to mention it. Now I didn't realize that they were coming to train with you.
Yeah, if you talk to them, last time I trained them was 2011. They still talk like I see them at like Costco or anything. They're like, Mehari. They lose their mind, right?
That's
and I'm
awesome.
like, really? I'm like, you remember me? It's crazy, man. So
that's great, man. That's what it's all about, though, right? Like,
thanks, man. Thank you.
That's
John.
great.
Thank you.
So just to kind of wrap it up, like I said, you do train adults as well, but anyone that might want to get themselves involved in even the kids programs, adult programs with MH and MH100, just tell us where to find you and how you can get involved.
We have a Facebook page, MH100. You can find me on Instagram, MH100 Fit, Snapchat, MH100 Fitness, or contact me at the boxing club, Windsor Amateur Boxing Club. I'm there all the time now. They are here, so I'm splitting time right now.
Drop in and come see what it's all about.
Yep, come see me, man, if you want to get right, or your kids, right? So
exactly.
And I do a lot of programs in the summertime, off-season training, and I did an off-season training for these kids. And another motivation. It's crazy when I try to. I'm thinking I'm motivating people, but they have no idea they're motivating me. So I'm training these kids, and their parents they're rich kids, right? from the South Windsor. They go to Holy Names, couple of South Windsor grade schools, and their parents come to every workout. Not practice, not game. Like, my mom has never seen me play a game before in her life. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And I was good, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, these parents come to the workout. And I'm thinking, like, man, I wish I could be a parent.
Like, just in the gym, not
in the gym.
You know what I mean? Not team practice. He's talking just one-on-one.
They're in the boxing club, sitting down, chit-chatting. Then a week later, I see them videotaping. Then I see them, they're like, the kids love it. And I'm thinking, like, man, these kids don't get tired? Like, man, I just killed them on Malden, right? And I'm like, what's going on? At the end of the program, I'm thinking, they paid me, right? They paid me for these kids. And I'm like, thank you guys, good luck on your seasons. We ended in end of August. And they had gotten me, after they paid me already in advance, they've gotten me, like, so much gift cards, Starbucks, all these gift cards and, like, letters, parents saying how much they appreciated what I did. The kids now, like, starting quarterback for their Holy Names juniors, writing MH100 on their bands, like, to be like a part of it. They got MH100, right?
Yeah.
So, and
it's everywhere, right?
Yeah, like,
awesome.
The parents, like, these kids have everything, dude. Everything. Their parents is picked, like I said, both parents coming to the workout. And the number one thing they want is an MH100 t-shirt.
I want an MH100 t-shirt, man. That's what I'm saying.
I got you, man. I got you.
Awesome, dude. Well, just thank you, man, for taking the time to do this.
No problem, man.
Amazing story and great conversation,
man.
bro.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
That's great, dude. Thank you so much.